Welcome to the NWI.com Political Roundtable for Thursday, May 31st. I'm Robert Blaszkiewicz, Assistant Managing Editor of The Times. Joining with me today, Times columnist Mark Kiesling. Doug Ross is in another office, so he couldn't join us today, but we've got a couple topics to talk about, Mark. One thing you wanted to talk about, we talked about it a little bit last week, which was the selection of the lieutenant governor candidates, and you noted that the conspicuous absence of a representative of Northwest Indiana on either ticket.
And Lake and Porter counties, I mean, they are, you've got 600,000 people plus in those two counties.
Right.
And there were, I think, four candidates on what was considered the short list.
Yeah.
We
should say that the Democratic John Gregg picked
Vi Simpson of Ellettsville,
right?
Who is Ellettsville is down by Bloomington.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know.
Yeah, and the Republican Mike Pence picked Sue Ellspermann,
and she's from, I'm not sure,
down south somewhere.
See, it does not balance out as a regional ticket.
Right.
It just seems that once again the region's been shorted. The people who were on the short list from Northwest Indiana, you had on the Democratic side, you had Hammond Mayor Tom McDermott, and you had Linda Lawson, state senator. So on the Republican side, you had John Costas from Valparaiso, and Dan Dimozich from Cherryville.
Sure.
But despite their credentials, and I understand that Costas was not keen on running after a certain point. So, but Dimozich has always been a major fundraiser for the Republican Party.
He's
former state senator.
He hosted a fundraiser for Mitt Romney just a short time ago.
He had a big fundraiser for Mitt Romney, and 4 years ago he had a fundraiser for Mitt Romney. So he's been proven to be able to shake the money tree.
Yeah.
You'd think that maybe they'd want someone like that on their team. Another guy who's been proven to shake the money tree is Tom McDermott, mayor of Hammond and the Lake County Democratic Party chairman.
Yeah.
He's, one of the things he's really best known for, and he takes a certain amount of justifiable pride in, is that he knows how to raise funds for the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe the candidates now are able to do the same thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And it seems to me we don't have a regional balance.
Right.
Once again, basically the entire north of Indiana has been, sold short.
Yeah. Well, Mark, you spent a lot of your time writing about some of the problems endemic in Northwest Indiana politics, the corruption, the nepotism, things like that. Do you think there's a taint to Northwest Indiana politicians that kind of lessens their standing in the rest of the state?
I think there may be, but my take on that is that if you go to let's say a small county, Washington County or someplace like that, you're going to find nepotism there. But it's not a big county. No one cares. It doesn't make statewide news.
Right.
When we do something up here in a county of 500,000 plus people, or Porter County with 100,000 people, it makes news because of the size of the communities.
Right.
Is that fair? I would guarantee you, if you just went a little farther south, if you went to Newton County, you went to Jasper County, you're going to find people who hire their relatives.
Yeah.
You're going to find people who hire their friends.
Yeah, I don't know that it's much different today here than it is in the rest of the state, but we do have a history that kind of, I think, just, people have that, you kind of create this reputation over time, and then it kind of gets stuck to you.
Well, this may all go back to, and I hate to bring this up because it's been so long ago, but it may go back to when former County Prosecutor Jack Crawford was named the first director of the Indiana Lottery.
Mm-hmm.
And he hadn't had that job for a couple months before a personal problem, which we need not go into now, blew up in his face, and he was forced to resign. So now they actually vet people on with what they call the Jack Crawford question. And the Jack Crawford question is there anything we haven't asked you that you need to tell us that could embarrass the party if we name you as a candidate?
Yeah.
So I don't think that helped us. I'm glad to see Jack has been able to turn his life around. He's a successful defense attorney in Indianapolis now. Things could have gone much worse for him, but I don't really think he did the region any favors by having that problem.
Right. Well, moving along to another topic, we saw this week. We saw yesterday, Wednesday, a challenge, a lawsuit filed to challenge the in Illinois, challenge the ban on gay marriage. So we had that. We also today, as we're talking Thursday, there was a ruling made by a federal court in Boston on the Federal Defense of Marriage Act, which basically denies federal marriage benefits to same-sex couples. The ruling in Massachusetts was kind of interesting because it basically kind of narrowly talked about states' rights, and that what this was doing was it was denying states the right to administer marriage as they see fit. So this is, states' rights is something that you hear conservatives talk about a lot, and yet here it's being wielded to assert the rights of homosexuals. So kind of interesting to see how, and obviously this is all kind of heading, I think eventually we're going to see this whole issue end up in the Supreme Court.
It probably will, and I my take on it, and I'm writing a column on this for tomorrow, is that the government really needs to keep. I'm kind of a libertarian on this issue. The government really needs to keep its nose out of what people do in their private lives. If people of the same sex choose to marry, they should, the same benefits should accrue to them as accrue to straight couples who marry. There's really, whether you agree with it morally or not, or whether you want to cite religious reasons, you're stepping into dangerous territory there, because whose morality governs?
Right.
Is it the morality of the majority? Yeah, not the moral majority now, but is it the morality of the majority? Now, what if? How would certain of these people feel if, let's say, Muslims became a major factor in American politics? Because we're getting more and more, Muslim Americans, and what have they decided? They wanted to ban the Bible.
Yeah.
It's a two-edged sword, and people don't realize it. That you can kind of shove your morality down their throats, but you can do that from a position of power. Now, if you lose your power, you have no right to complain when people start shoving their own morality down your throat. And I think it's just better to take a hands-off.
Yeah.
And while it's not my particular cup of tea, it's I
But
think
no one is forcing you to marry another man. So
that's correct.
if others want to,
so if others want to, I see nothing objectionable about it from a legal point of view.
yeah.
You know, and really, I don't want to put my put my morality as a benchmark or a watermark
Yeah.
for what other people do.
Well, we saw Cook County Clerk David Orr yesterday come out with a statement after these lawsuits were filed in support of the lawsuits that he basically said it's far past time that people were given these equal rights that regardless of their sexual orientation.
It is far past time.
And we I think it's kind of interesting just to see how quickly I think public opinion has been swayed in favor of gay marriage, and the most recent kind of watershed moment was President Obama saying that he favored equal gay marriage rights for same-sex couples, and you've kind of seen that have a ripple effect.
Now we're talking about Illinois here, as far as David Orr, but Vi Simpson, the Democratic Lieutenant Governor candidate, has come out in favor of same-sex marriage. So maybe it's time to.
Which she disagrees with her running mate on.
She disagrees.
John
yes,
Gregg is not in
That's right.
favor. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic there. But I think you're going to continue to see is obviously there's kind of a generational gap in opinion about this issue. Older Americans,
like me.
tend to be more opposed, certainly, than younger Americans. So it seems like you see the trend lines continue, the support for gay marriage to continue to rise, and I'm not sure how much longer, whether for whatever constitutional or amendments or laws banning gay marriage, how much longer that can hold back the tide, and whether it's going to be solved. The question, I guess, is whether it's going to be solved legislatively, state by state, or whether the Supreme Court at some point is just going to say, nope, this is the law of the land.
Well, this is where I come back again and say the government, whether federal or state or local, really has no business in your bedroom.
Yeah. Right.
They just don't. Unless you're a child molester or something like that.
Sure.
What two consenting adults do in the privacy of their own home is up to them.
Yeah.
It's not up to the government to decide what they do.
Well, in light of that, from two consenting adults, we will wrap up this week's discussion. And thank you for watching. And we'll be back next week with another political roundtable.
Thank you, Robert.